everyone, welcome back to the Creator Shelf. You have joined me on a very warm day in Brussels. It's around 24-25 Celsius, which I think is 75 Fahrenheit. But by Tuesday, apparently it's going to be, I don't know, 35, something like that. It's going to be near 100 Celsius or 105 Celsius by Tuesday. So we are getting ready for a very, very hot summer here in the city. But in the meantime, I thought I would do a very hot tag, which is Good Mood Tags, started over by Marine of Waves of Your Soul. So thank you so much, Marine, for starting this tag. It's really interesting. I saw it and Marine knows this. The first thing I thought was, what am I going to put in this tag, actually? But then I realized that, you know what, all of these tags are about just doing what speaks to us, right? And it's the variety. So here is my Good Moods decks, Good Mood decks. And hopefully you'll be able to enjoy this selection, and maybe some of these resonate with you. You might want to add them to your collection. And you know, I'm just having fun also seeing everybody else's reply to this. So here we go. Here is the very first deck that I thought of. And I thought of this deck because it is just joyful. It is a joyful deck. I brought it into my collection this spring, I think it was, and it is the Joie de Vivre. So this is by Paulina Cassidy. It is the Joy of Life, and I absolutely adore this deck. It took me a really long time to pick it up, considering it's been out for a long time. It's a US Games mass market edition. I was about to say addiction. Edition, and it is just absolutely amazing. Look at these beautiful watercolors. Paulina Cassidy, or Paulina Faye, the Phantasma Tarot is out under the name of Paulina Faye, is an amazing artist. I follow her on Instagram. I definitely say that check her out her artwork. I do note that her Oracle of the Fairies, something like that, is now being discontinued because she has a new one coming out with more images. So it's going to be quite interesting to see the revised edition of that coming through. I don't know when, autumn or later. But definitely Paulina Cassidy is a favorite of mine, and the Joie de Vivre has to be in this selection. It is joyful, it is bright, it is fun. It has these deep saturations of green, as you can see there. The pastels are just gorgeous. And you know, this Three of Cups, I think Kelly from The Truth and Story, she'd done this tag on Insta or on YouTube, I can't remember, but it was called like Hug a Deck. And I think it was done in February or something, and it was like every day to post cards that help us like hug a deck kind of thing. And I remember picking this card because it just felt so much like, you know, friendships coming together, people coming together, and everybody belongs, right? And I love these creatures because I can see myself in them. They're not like of a particular background or anything. It's like everyone can be part of this. I really love the fact that even the creatures, you know, we've got mythical creatures. The Fae appears in so many different forms in this deck, very elfish as well. And yeah, it's a beautiful deck. And look at this is Five of Swords. I mean, look at that conflict there and betrayal. And you can see there, you know, one of them is going to be Victor. They're taking, and the other one, look at his face, or her face. Gorgeous. Look at that. So yeah, so I absolutely adore this deck, and a Good Mood deck tag has to begin with Joie de Vivre there. So there we go. Okay, so the deck after that I picked, and it was kind of like, you know, this is where I have to say, this is where this kind of like there's a slight departure from what everybody else would consider like a good mood thing, but it spoke to me, and it made sense to me because I again, you know, I was running this morning in Bois de la Cambre, and again, you know, I saw the animals that I see kind of like every week. I go running there in the park, and it's the Crow Tarot. I saw my companions, and it was a really funny moment actually. I recorded it on video. Maybe I should put it on YouTube, I don't know. But I heard this morning this rustling, and I thought somebody was following me in the park, and I was like, oh no, because I was like taking a moment, you know, where I just wanted to walk and stretch my arms and stuff, and I heard this rustling, and of course, you know, I looked to the side, and it was just these crows in the foliage, you know, where there were dried leaves, you know, picking for food or whatever. But it was just wonderful to have the companions right there, you know. And for a second I was like, what is this? And then I realized, oh, it's the birds. I just love being out in nature. It feels so good, especially, you know, because I'm in the city basically. So whatever we can get. And the Crow Tarot for me just puts me in a good mood, because it always reminds me that healing energy is always close by. My companions are always going to be there. I can look out the window and see a crow. I can be in the park and see a crow. You know, and it's that energy of the Morrigan. It's the energy of that the forest. You know, that's what calls me again. Look at that Death card. This deck, though, there's another side to it, and I remember when I was picking the MJ, I was looking through my MJ Cullinan decks, thinking which one do I pick for this particular tag, and the reason why I picked the Crow specifically, you know, as you know, I've got the Guardians of the Night, I've also got the Foraxa. She's also done like the Wise Dog Tarot and all these wonderful other decks, but the why I picked the Crow Tarot is because there's a little bit of wittiness that I find in this deck. There's a little bit of, at times, tongue-in-cheek, at times cards that make me smile. And let me find one for you that you know, has a real, oh, see, this is it, look at that Four of Swords. I mean, you know, he's meant to be meditating or asleep and he looks dead. So, you know, again, it's just, this is the kind of stuff that makes me smile. Look at the High Priestess. I absolutely adore that veil. That veil is just amazing. And that Temperance, I mean, yeah, let me see what else another, oh, I love that Queen of Swords. I mean, can you have a deck tell you, can you have a card tell you any more, you know, this is the way to go, this is what I'm telling you. And yeah, I just love this deck. I love just the way that the crow has been pictured again and again. And yeah, I remember when I got this deck, I think it was in 2020, and still, you know, a couple of years later, it still is a fan favorite in my collection. And I really love the Foraxa too, actually. But I picked the Crow Tarot for this tag because, yeah, I like the wittiness of this energy. Let me see another one if I can find. There's a few in here that just make me laugh, you know, and they just make me smile. I like that, actually. I like that Lover's card there. And yeah, there's just something about this deck that is just so vivacious. That's the word I was looking for, vivacious. I love this King of Wands where the crow is on the lion, you know, the crow is supreme. Very, very interesting energy there. And so, yeah, there's another one in here. I was trying to find it, so hold on a second if I can find it in time. I'm trying to go as fast as possible. Oh, it's evading me now. Yeah, I mean, just, you know, again, I mean, look at that Tower card there. But yeah, I think that MJ Cullen really, for me, this was my, see, this Devil, look at that. This deck just makes me feel, and can you see what's tied there? I don't know what, that's not a robin. I don't know what bird that is, but can you see what's chained? And it looks like that river's turned to blood, you know. It's just very, there's an energy in this deck that just, you know, I look at the cards and sometimes I just get very mesmerized into them. So anyway, this is a good mood deck for me because I know it sounds really strange, but it makes me feel stable. That's what this deck does, even though it's a deck of a bird, basically. It makes me feel stable and as if, you know, I'm being accompanied. It's very much an accompanying deck for me. And yeah, so I wanted to show this on. Okay, so moving on from there, another tarot deck that I thought would, I'm just going to do some of my mass market tarot decks before then I move on, is Alexia's Tarot. I think everyone has shown this in their collection, or many people have. It is such a beautiful good mood deck. I personally love the colors in this deck. I love the expressions on people's faces because it's just so easy to read. I just find it's a good mood deck because it makes it so inviting to be part of this journey, and it doesn't make me sit there thinking, oh wow, I wonder what was in their heads, and I wonder what she means by these symbols. Chris Ann, I think, just created a deck that is so intuitive for so many people. I know that sometimes it's very young energy. I feel it's a bit Coachella, to be quite honest with you, and so it doesn't always resonate for me in those kind of themes. But I like it because of its clarity. I like it because it's so colorful and bright. There is some diversity in the deck. I don't think it's that diverse, to be quite frank, but I appreciate it for what it is. I love these beautiful purples. I love, you know, the strength that's shown in this card from the characters. One of my favorite Queen of Pentacles of all time. I love the Queen of Pentacles because that's what she's the archetype of my mother. So any Queen of Pentacles I look for in a deck, I really want to see a strong woman that I can go to with that energy. And there you go, there she is. So yeah, it's a beautiful deck, and I'm really appreciative of it. And I definitely would classify this as a good mood deck. And, you know, and today somebody asked me, like, you know, my first tarot deck, and I don't like the traditional RWS imagery or something like that. I would definitely put this as a recommendation for them to check out as their first deck, for sure. You know, and of course, it's available mass market. It's a Hay House production now. So I really like the fact that it's so accessible to all as well. Okay, so if I can get it back in its, box. So after this, I think, oh yeah, and of course my very favorite, and of course it has to be in there, the Everyday Witch. This was sitting at the bottom, which is why I picked it up first. I should have picked her up first. The Everyday Witch is definitely my favorite good mood deck in terms of a tarot deck, a mass market tarot deck at least. Yeah, she's my favorite. Look at the backs. I do know that there is a tarot deck coming out which is going to feature just the cat from this deck, so I can't wait to actually get hold of that. It's going to be a Llewellyn publication, but I just absolutely adore the Everyday Witch. This is one of my favorites. So sorry, I should have shown this deck first, but anyway, yeah, this is like my number one tarot deck. Look at this deck. Oh my god, I could sit with this. I love the expression on the little kitty. I mean, like, she looks surprised. The kitten looks like it knows business, you know? The cat knows what it's doing. Look at the Emperor, and we have there an Alsatian, and of course the cat on his lap. It's just adorable. She's content, and she's meditating, and this cat's about to, this very Cancerian energy. Oh, just an adorable deck. I absolutely love it. And now that I've picked her up, I can't wait to work with her again. I've got some plans for her in the coming months. But this deck just, you know, I want to be the Everyday Witch. I am the Everyday Witch, basically. This deck is just so much my 10-year-old, 11-year-old vibe. This is the deck that tells me it's okay. We're going to have fun. We're going to enjoy life. You can be the 11-year-old. It's okay. I know that, you know, my early teens were really, I mean, they were raw. They were very, very raw. I was coping with a very big tragedy in my life. And I lost sometimes memory of that time. And this deck just helps me to feel okay with that part of me that, you know, I've been recovering slowly over time, like literally recovering her, because there was so much lost in that period. And I love this deck. This is the deck that accompanies me on that journey. And she's very special. She always puts me in a good mood. I'm sorry I haven't picked her up recently. It's only because I've been working with so many other decks, but this one is coming back in to be worked with in the coming months. I have her on my list, and look at that. That's actually how me and my kitty, like my kitty is right next to me like that. Oh, look at the Irish Wolfhound. I think that's an Irish Wolfhound. I think it is. Just a beautiful deck. And yeah, I don't think we've got a kitty in this one. Look at that Nine of Swords. And look, the kitty's comforting her. And there's the light coming. It's just a beautiful, I think that's a lark. It's just such a comforting deck. I think that's why I didn't think of this. I think of this deck as also a very healing deck, to be quite honest with you. So it's a good mood deck, but it's also a healing deck for me. And it goes into that healing category. So really, really lovely to have that in the set. Okay, so I think now I'm going to show you some indie tarot, well, actually it's only one indie tarot deck that I've got out today, and that is my Lioness Oracle Tarot. I bought this in the spring, May, yeah, and I love this deck. I love this deck because it's so funny. I find her really funny, and I find her quirky, and I just find her a little bit tongue-in-cheek. This is the deck that really, I think the tag was about, you know, tarot doesn't always have to be serious, and this deck falls into that, like, let's have a laugh category. Just as like a full disclaimer, I've ordered the Vision of the Muse as well, and it's sitting in a post office right now waiting for collections. I'm like, oh, I can't show her today. I love this deck. It's just on point. These are the gorgeous backs. The production quality of this deck is just amazing. But more than anything, like, I find her so funny, and let me see. Oh, I love this. You know, I love this. You know, it's got all the symbols, but it's made them a bit funny and a bit quirky. And let me see if I can find one of the decks that just, oh, look at this Eight of Swords. I mean, the things that scare us, right? But this deck just makes me smile. You can just see, like, I just love this deck. This is such a good deck. I have a little bit of Leo in my chart. I'm not really a Leo girl, but I have a little bit of it in my chart. Yeah, I think my Mars is, of course, my Mars is in Leo. That's what it is. Just so cool, this deck. So cool. I'm so glad I got her. First time I thought, nah, I mean, like, it's just collage bits and pieces. I mean, you know, I just couldn't see myself working with something like this. And then I thought I'd give it a try because I like experimenting. I think tarot for me is a lot of experimenting, and it's just made me smile. The whole deck just puts a grin on my face. I'm trying to find, like, actually the card that makes me just laugh so much in this deck. Actually, I remember that when I saw it, and I just couldn't help thinking that they just got it so right. I mean, look at that Empress. Hold on, let me just show you this one. Look at this Empress. But yeah, I just love, oh, look at the Two of Cups in this deck. She's done it so right, this deck. I love the High Priest. I'm just trying to let me see if I can find the card that I wanted to show you. But this deck just, yeah, it puts a big smile on my face, as you can see. Page of Pentacles. Yeah, I find her, I think I've just already gone past, I think, the card that I wanted to show you, but I just really love it. Oh, here it is. Of course, this is the one I wanted to show you, which is the Fool. I mean, like, she's jumping onto the cliff. Isn't that hilarious? And just, if somebody knows exactly what I'm meant to be looking at here, please let me know, because I still haven't figured it out. I've been sitting there trying to analyze it for ages. Oh, there it is. There's the face. It's just so strange the way it's been cut out, and the whole thing just makes me laugh. It just makes me laugh so much. I could barely see her face there, though. Yeah, I'm not going to say any more. This deck is just, I think, amazing. You know, it's not, I don't think it's a deck for everyone, because I know that some people would just be like, huh? Or some people would just feel it's just too, I don't know, it doesn't have the symbols that they're looking for, or the images, or perhaps it's a style. It's kind of like, I guess, a case of style, or, you know, one's particular taste. But for me, this deck just, you know, it actually surprised me. This deck just surprised me in how much it made me smile and made me laugh and think, okay, I get it now. I get the joke. Okay, So I'm going to quickly now move on to some oracles. I'm going to try and make this video short. I'm going to move on to some oracles that just are so kind of like good mood decks. Let me start off with one from last winter, which I think a lot of us just don't talk about still so much, is Denise Lynn's Sacred Destiny. It's just got such good vibes. I also, a bit similar to the Everyday Witch, I also find a very healing deck. Perhaps also because I was using this deck in the winter of 2021 and I had someone pass away that winter. So it was and we were in this massive lockdown for like 8 months, which just went on and on and on. So this deck was really like next to me quite a lot. It just happened to be the deck I was using. And so it's imbued with that feeling of, it's okay, you're getting treatment from me. It's fine. I'm here for you, And I find that the colors and the way it looks like Polaroid photos taken, it just makes me feel happy and like I'm in a good mood. And, it just gives me those kind of like the right dopamine vibes that I need basically, and a shot of serotonin as well there. It just gives me those kind of like colors that I love. And I think that's the beauty of this deck. I'm so glad also this is the old Hay House cardstock. I have to say that the recent decks that I bought from Hay House are just abysmal in their cardstock. So abysmal that I've just ordered an Hay House deck that I would like to get because the indie version is just so out of price for me. There is an indie version of that deck. But I kind of like have made a conscious decision to cut down on my Hay House purchases because the cardstock is just so awful. I don't, unless it's a deck I really, really, really want, like as in I so want it and I can see a part of my collection within 20 different ways, I'm just not going to buy it. And there are other decks that I've just thought I don't want to buy them because the cardstock is going to be abysmal and I don't want to spend that money. So it just shows, look at how beautiful these are. It just, for me, I love this deck because it's on point in so many ways. Denise Lynn's writing as well, her guidebooks are awesome. These images are beautiful, and the quality of the deck is also there. So in so many ways, I find this is a good mood deck. And to be quite honest with you, this is pairing very, very well with some other decks that I have. And I do need to do one of those pairing videos with the view of the table, because then I can show you properly. So another oracle that I absolutely love that puts me in a good mood, it's one that I've been sitting with at night recently. I'm really getting to know her, is Wisdom of the Sacred Bee Oracle. Now, I am someone that is very intrigued by bees because, again, it goes back to Capricorn. It's a sign that always intrigues me because my mother's a Capricorn. I keep saying that, but there you go. It's part of my understanding that relationship, and this is how I do it. So she's a Capricorn and a Leo rising. So I always pay attention to that kind of like, I wonder how they handle things kind of thing. And so this is this. Look at that beautiful gilding. These are the cards. Now it's got that beautiful matte, lush, whatever finish. It's not clumping, which is great, but the images are gorgeous. And to be very frank, because I have there the tarot version of this, you can see it back there on the shelf. To be very frank, I actually wanted the oracle more than the tarot. That's how much I love the oracle here. It is just full of beautiful colors. How can that not make you happy? How can that not put you in a good mood? Now, I know that there's some oracle decks by Kathy Nichols. She's an indie producer. She does these beautiful flower decks like Flower Medicine, and I can't remember all the names of them. Unfortunately, I can't purchase them because the shipping is extortionate. It's about $30 to $40 just to ship it here. So, I think they would go so beautifully with the Sacred Bee decks, that theme, But I'm so grateful I've got this one. I do know that Keepers of the Bee Tarot is coming out later this year on Kickstarter. Keep an eye out for it. Definitely another one that I'll be adding to my collection. And I mean, who could not love the gorgeous colors in here? And I think she's just done an amazing job in terms of art, collage, colors, themes, elements, geometric shapes, patterns, you know, just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And I'm so glad that this is in my collection. So after that, and this is the bit where I've got to be careful about how I put everything back, because otherwise, as you all know, when you do these videos, you end up with like 20 things out on your table. But the one after this, and I was just thinking, actually, I don't have much more to show. I have Soulful Women. Now, this is a deck that I picked up upon recommendation of Hege from the May Queen. And Hege, Norwegian tarot tuber, has a really good selection of decks, because I do know that she's very mindful of what she has, which I just really love, you know, someone that really has that kind of like very curated vibe. These are the backs. And anyway, she had this in her collection, and she's also got the Mother Mary Oracle, which I have. And her Soulful Women is in glass, and her Mother Mary is in matte, and mine is the other way around. It's so funny. But anyway, she did a comparison of the two decks, and that's when I really looked at this deck and I fell in love with it. Now, who could not find this? So nurturing and wonderful and comforting and good mood and positive. I absolutely love the art in this deck. I like the fact that it's very diverse. I like the fact that I can see myself in this deck. You know, I can identify in this deck. It's just, you know, these are the kind of like images where when I was younger, I would never see anything like this, right? We never saw it in magazines or in books. Everything looked like, I don't know how else to put it, but it just looked like, you know, girls that were skinny. Most of the time they were not of my ethnicity. They were just, you know, it was a very cookie cutter vibe. And when I see decks like this, I just love them, because like they're all colors, they're all kinds of hair. You know, yeah, that was another thing when I was growing up. You know, you had to have your hair straight and put back, and you know, and especially like in my community, like having your hair out and having curly hair is a big no-no kind of thing. And you know, having my hair pulled back and straightened and tucked in and all this kind of thing. And I love decks like this because they just celebrate women as they are. You know, this is how we are. We are funky and vibrant and colourful, and we have different noses and different eyes and hair and just everything. And yeah, just there's something about this, and I love the energy in this deck. I do have a thought about getting some new decks that are of this similar vibe, so of course you're going to see more of that on my shelf in the coming weeks. I have to say one thing as I go through this deck is that I have several goddess decks, and increasingly I'm buying less of them. And the reason why I say that is because I'm starting to find the theme is just, it's not about overpopulating it, but I'm looking for fresh, innovative images. So I'm going to try and hesitate buying any more of these kinds, because I love this, but I don't need 10 decks like this, you know. So I think this kind of like really is great to have in my collection. And but I'm looking for different things now, and I hope we see more also divine masculine decks, because I think that's really needed. But yes, I just love the artwork in this. So yes. And then I'm going to end on this one, because I just wanted to show something that's really kind of like Fae, and that is Fairy Wisdom Oracle by Amy Brown. I just love this deck. I don't really love the production of this, but the actual artwork and the cards are just gorgeous. And it just makes me happy. It just makes, these are the backs, it just makes me happy and smile. It is just so fairy tale. It's just, you know, these are the kind of images I wish there were more when I was a kid, actually. because it's elfish and it's mermaids and it's fairies and it's all of that, you know. It's just witchy. I love it. It's a little fairy tale in a pocket, basically, and impish, and it puts me in a good mood, you know. It just reminds me of the lightness of being and enjoying the magic. I think magic puts me in a very good mood, and this deck is really just, it says believe. It's just so magical. So I'm going to end on that card. So thank you for joining me today. Thank you for checking out with me my Good Mood decks. I'd like to do one which is a little bit more, I don't know how else to put it, a different kind of approach to good mood. I might do that in the coming months. I have a part of me that's really, really balanced with like different energies, and sometimes my good moods are a little bit more darker at times. So maybe I can do kind of like a part 2 to this deck with some dark decks. Okay, so I will end there. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Take care now. Bye.